What's up, race fans? It's 7 o'clock. It's Thursday, and it's time for the Thursday Night Throttle live on Top Row Racing Media, presented by ELH Detailing and Federated Auto Parts. This is your look ahead to the weekend events in the Top Row Racing network of tracks and your look around Michiana Motorsports. My name is Buju, live from South Bend, Indiana, sometimes a race car driver, host of the Bullring Chronicles, host of the Monday Night Rewind, host of Thursday Night Throttle, host of Bleachers and Features, and live as always with the man in the top row himself, Lewis Noakes. How are we doing, Lewis?
Well, I noticed you added a little cheap plug in there for
I
yourself
did.
with
I
the.
did.
I see
One
you
more
snuck
in.
that in. Yeah, one of these days I'm going to charge you for that. But
Yeah.
anyways, other than being in basically Canadian air mass,
Yeah.
up here in Michigan, that's where everyone will kind of see a little bit of a different format um, tonight, just because who knows what the air mass is going to do for the racing schedule, especially for tomorrow. So we're kind of going to have more of a chit chat show, and there's a lot to chit chat. I promise you that we'll definitely want you engaged in the comments. Question might even get you some fired up. So yeah, I'm doing okay. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. The air was definitely a problem at work today. I'll tell you that.
Yeah,
Eyes were burning, throat burning. No
yeah.
fun. No fun working. And and I'm further south than you, obviously, and a lot of our audience. But yeah, still not a great one.
Well, that's where Matt Rutkin, and like I said pre-show, I take everything that he says for gospel. He shared a graphic that the Great Lakes right now has the worst air mass quality in the whole world. Like it's
Mhm.
just dark red. Obviously, between the Canadian wildfire smoke, and then even from Minnesota. I didn't know someone was coming from Minnesota. So
I honestly didn't know that it was from Canada until today. So that's how out of the loop I was. I knew there was a wildfire yesterday, and this morning I found out where is it coming from anyway. So
which I mean, that just kind of shows how crazy the planet is. Excuse me, sometimes
yeah.
because like we've had the Saharan Desert that came
Mhm.
through, and then if you remember, it was like a few months ago, or maybe it was last year, when all because the air or the soil in like New Mexico and all that was so dry that when we got rain, remember all the cars were getting
Yeah, I
dirty for
do. Yeah, my car was
one
covered
of
in
those
dust.
that
Yeah.
whether it's from the north or to the south, we always seem to get it. And
Mhm.
and that's Callum's, you already pulled the plug, and it sounds like people are being pretty respectful for that for tomorrow. But Matt Rutkin literally said that I-94 is kind of like the dividing line between god awful and even worse than god awful.
Yeah.
And so, 94 Kalamazoo would be this racetrack itself is north of 94, and it's supposed to kind of keep drooping. So
Mhm.
that's why, again, we kind of changed the format a little bit tonight because some tracks may pull the plug, not even for weather. Weather is a factor tomorrow too, but
Yeah.
it's the smoke. I mean, imagine being an all-out late model, already hot
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuffy,
That's what I'm
probably,
thinking when it's in near 100 with the heat index already, and then you're in a triple layer fire suit with a helmet on and God knows what else, and
you
sweating
know,
to death, and then you're breathing in smoke while
yeah,
you're trying to drive a
breathing
race
in
car. Not a
smoke.
good recipe.
Then fans, of course, have medical issues too. So, I was kind of telling Drew Jack when he called to tell me about it that I said that, KTS might have been in the grandstands even more than on the
Yeah.
track, with different respiratory issues and all that. So I think it's just one of those things that, um, again, we'll just kind of see how it goes. But it's just kind of crazy. Again, it reminds us, or it should remind us how, while this is a big place, it's also not,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? That, what happens in one place certainly, maybe not quite New York because it'll go that way, but
Mhm.
anything from west moving
Yeah.
east or even north moving south, can definitely impact us
Mhm.
here. So, or even sometimes south north. So,
Yeah.
um, so it's kind of different. I mean, when you asked what does it look like, I'm like I'm a quarter mile from the next road, and you can see the tree outline, but you really
Mhm.
can't
Yeah.
pass. So it's
Yeah.
crazy.
It's just hazy here, but
Yeah.
still not fun to live in at the moment. So hopefully it clears up here pretty quick. I don't like obviously I'm not very informed on the situation going on up there, but yeah.
Well, something that you probably are informed by that we can kind of put out there for the taking is the throttle question. So obviously the Slinger Nationals were the other night. This is not necessarily Slinger related. This could be any track, but it'll be kind of one of those if you know things.
Yeah.
Um, so this is posed by somebody for us to ask. And so, as a race fan, would you rather see a current NASCAR star enter a race without qualifying, or see a local legend make the show instead, who went through the qualifying process and has invested themselves in the local racing scene for many years? So let me put it this way to you, Buju. Kalamazoo Clash.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say that 40 late models show up, and Kalamazoo reaches out to Kyle Larson and says, for this much money, come race at our track, because they get most, like if you're NASCAR, you're probably getting paid to be at the track. You're not doing it out of the kindness of your heart, like sometimes fans think. No, there's a check that comes with that. And most cases, not all, there are some drivers who just go and race, but most of the time, if it's a NASCAR guy, there's a big, nice, fat check coming with that appearance. And so, they'll probably make the show because of that, right? The track's paying them to be there, and they'll probably have one of the best cars. But imagine this, that person, let's say it's Kyle Larson, just shows up on the Kalamazoo Clash day, didn't do the format, didn't do any things, gets in a car, takes 5 laps, waves, shakes hands, kisses babies, going hangs out. Phil Bozell. Even better, Andy Bozell. Let's say Andy Bozell, they take the top 24. Andy Bozell's the 24th car. Kyle Larson just went around, did a few circles, and they want to bump him from the program because they're only taking 24. So Andy Bozell is out.
Right.
Kyle Larson is in. What do fans prefer? Do they prefer like, hey, wait, that's our legend who has all these track records, who has all these things? Or, hey, we got Kyle Larson here. Sorry, Andy Bozell.
Yeah.
So what do you think? That's kind of like a scenario that I related it to.
And it's tough because, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, I couldn't hear myself there all of a sudden. But all right, lost my train of thought there. So in this situation, and the one that brought it up, both drivers ended up making the race.
Yes.
So I feel like that's kind of what happens in most of these situations is they're taking 24, but if we need both these guys in, we're gonna end up taking 25. Now, if you're asking me my preference, I feel like it just comes down. I'm such a hypocrite when it comes to my favorite drivers and who I like. If I liked one over the other, it could absolutely flip depending on the situation. Now, obviously, we're talking about Slinger yesterday between Carson Hocevar and Rich Bickle. I am a Carson Hocevar fan. I'm also a Rich Bickle fan. So that's one of those situations where I don't know what I'd prefer. At Slinger, if I'm a lifelong Slinger fan and knowing the history of that place and what Rich Bickle means to it, I probably want to see Rich Bickle in the race. But at the same time, how many 10 or 12 or 14 or kids came out and to see Carson Hocevar?
Yep.
A lot of those 8 to 10 or 12 or 14-year-olds, all respect to Rich Bickle, he is a legend, but a lot of those kids don't know who Rich Bickle is.
Right. Oh,
so,
right. Well, and this is the way sometimes I think about it too. In many cases, not all cases, but in many cases, when a track is bringing in like a NASCAR star or whatever, it's to sell tickets.
Yeah. And to your point where you said that in all likelihood, their NASCAR star is being paid to be there. The track is paying them to be in the race. They're not going to, they're losing their investment if they pay Kyle Larson to show up and, run 5 laps in a last chance or whatever it ends up being.
And like I said, that's not all the time, but that's where sometimes, you might hear fans say, oh, they just come here for the goodness of their heart. Yeah, it had 3 zeros after the comma.
Yeah.
That's the goodness of their heart, is that they got to check with the comma in, and it's probably 2 numbers before.
Yeah. And they still don't have to do it, right? So
right.
I mean, they're still taking the time, but it's not for free. It's not out of the pure goodness of their heart, like you said.
That doesn't mean they didn't enjoy it. That doesn't mean they didn't like it. That doesn't mean they don't like the track. Like Kenny Wallace talks about M40 all the time.
Yeah.
We know that he didn't probably go to Plymouth or South Bend for free. So, he went there to help sell tickets. That's why you do that. But sometimes, when you think of like Slinger probably sells tickets on its own, right? So that's where, I don't know, I probably lean towards like your locals, because it's cool to have NASCAR. It's cool to have those drivers. And I'm not saying I'm against that. We've had Travis Pastrana. We've had Connor Daly. We've had, or who else? I'm trying to think. Ryan Priest. I mean, we've had a couple at Kalamazoo, especially with Jujack Show and all that. And he was working on some for Corrigan. And so I don't mind him. I'm not against him, but it's like, but let's say that provisional wasn't awarded, and then you got a legend who obviously has been part of the Slinger Nationals for so long, or any big race. I mean, this is any track that, if you got someone who got bumped in place of that, it's like, that's kind of tougher, because how many local fans came because of the local driver versus how many fans came because of the NASCAR driver or ASA driver or Monster Jam driver, or, like insert traveling series here. So that's why it was a very hot topic yesterday on Facebook, or whatever day it was on Facebook. And so I thought, when that was posed to us, it's like, let's see what everyone thinks. Again, I'm kind of with you. I'm not one way or another, but I would probably lean local, just because those are the people who you see all the time. They've invested. They're there. They're there because they're passionate. Yes, they're chasing a check too, but they weren't paid to be there, right? They're there because they want to be there, and the lore brought them, not a check. And so, so I don't know. Sometimes those paid appearances, I'm always like, I don't know.
And like you said, it's to sell tickets. And I mean, I think of an example a few weeks ago where Ryan Newman was a guest in the area, and the stands were packed at a track that's struggled to get fans, to be honest. I mean, and they're not alone in that. A lot have, but having that star works. So if you do have that star, and all those people paid to see him in this big race, and a lot of these people don't understand short track formats, so they pay to see Ryan Newman or Tony Stewart or Kyle Busch or whoever may be in the house, and they're not in this race, and they don't even know what's going on, So it's
that post blew up, the one that I saw, because I've been so busy doing my own thing in my own life that I haven't even really been on Facebook. I think today, I don't know, maybe I did yesterday, I don't remember. But I think like today was one of the first times on my page that I shared anything. I mean, obviously Top Row's been somewhat busy, but like I've had 4 full programs, 500, over 500 laps, all the things. So I'm like, I got on Facebook, I think briefly to check, because I've also been avoiding the Big Brother spoilers, because they've been posting a lot of stuff before the show airs. I'm like, well,
they want you to pay for them live feeds, brother.
I don't see that. I stay away from the live feeds for that reason. Although I know that's where all the juicy stuff happens and all the gossip and all that, but I always like seeing how they edit it, right? But because now it's all Big Brother stuff on my feed, because I'm a Big Brother fan. I like Big Brother.
I used to be,
my grandmother got me into it, so that's where this is what I've been watching since season 11. So I mean, long time now. But it's one of those things that I'm like, I try to avoid that, or I know when I'm at the racetrack and there's been a WWE PLE, I don't even get on Facebook, because the Top Pro won't have it. But if I go to my personal page, that's all it's going to be is WWE updates. And then when I get home, I'm like, well, now I don't have to watch the damn thing. So
I'm gonna need to call a quick timeout and have you look at new
pairs of speed. I saw.
Sorry to break our rhythm there, but it made me giggle.
That's what he's talking about. So probably Chris, because I haven't had it this week. I was going to go on Tuesday. I asked Bob. I said, "Hey, you want something from Dog Slinger?" He wasn't really feeling it, and I'm like, "It's hot. I don't feel like going out." So, so I didn't. I just had leftovers and all that. But that's where I'm not an M40 on a regular night, but
to Ralph's comment there, David Stremme did just race at Butler last week or a week and a half ago, something like that.
Like, I know he's national, but doesn't he feel local?
Yeah, in a way,
he has local roots, and to Carson's point, he does too at Berlin.
Yeah,
but so if Berlin had a race, maybe that makes more sense. But But Dog Slinger, if you missed Monday's episode of the Monday Night Rewind, we had quite the
we did. We broke down Dog Slinger.
Talked a lot about Dog Slinger. But one thing that I did want to remind everyone while we're in the conversation is that the pit box, send us your questions. So again, that question was submitted to us. So, send us your questions in a short video format, or if you want to type in and not do a video. I was thinking if you did video, we could play your question. If anyone has kids, it's kind of like a mystery science thing. So if you've ever seen a mystery science video, or even Google Mystery Science. Doug is the scientist, and they have students who ask Doug questions, and then the whole episode kind of dives into that. So I thought if someone sent us like a video question, we can play the video on air, and then Bougie and I can break it down in what's called the pit box, which is what this segment would be. So no one really sent us a question yet, because again, I didn't really push it. I forgot to do that myself. That's my fault. And we didn't have the show last week, so in my head everything just kind of escaped. And when Drew called me to tell me about Kalamazoo canceling, I said, oh, I didn't do my graphics yet. And yeah, so these were done at like 6 o'clock. I'm just gonna be honest. But so I even forgot to put that out there. But Drew is in the staging area, and I do want to respect his time. So we want to talk a little bit about Slinger. Even though we were just talking about Slinger, it seems like perfect segue to talk about small car nationals. So this segment is brought to you by ELH Detailing. So we're going to put a pin in the parking lot. We're going to put that question in the parking lot. So again, feel free in the comments to give your thoughts, or one thing that Bougie and I want to talk a little bit about, rules, because it's been super busy. But anyways, the promoter's point. So let's go ahead and bring on Drew Jack. Sorry, Drew, I just kind of jumped on you there. But I asked if you could come on and talk a little bit about the small car nationals and what you're doing, what that's going to look like.
So absolutely, I appreciate you having us on. We're excited to join Travis and his team at Slinger last year. We had 34 cars last year, and I think it was one of the biggest small car nationals they ever had last year, with all divisions, not just the Slinger Bs and the National Compacts. And I expect it will even be bigger, because this, you have the Slinger Nationals that happen on Monday and Tuesday. That's for the big guys, the big dogs, the NASCAR guys, and it's been a long-lasting tradition. I don't know how many small car nationals, but it's kind of cool. They give a little shine to the little guys, too, from the Wisconsin Sport Trucks to the Legends, to the Bandoleros, to the Slinger Bees. I mean, there's like 6 or 7 classes. I know I'm forgetting 2 or 3 of them. So many cups will be there. So it's a really cool deal. Lewis can tell you the pits were packed. There's hardly any place to move. There's 130 cars there last year.
Yep.
So,
and a quick program. I mean, I was super impressed. I pulled when I was putting my cameras that I had left in my back seat. They're running behind Bougie on schedule, and so they had 2 hot lap sessions, and then they're going to go into qualifying. Well, in Slinger, 6:30, they don't run on different times. So they announced we are running behind, and so this is our last hot lap session coming out, and we're going straight into qualifying. I went, racetracks do that? Because other racetracks will just push through and everything runs behind, and before you know it, a program that's supposed to start at 6 o'clock is starting at 8 o'clock. I mean, fans talk about it all the time, and it's like, because they're just, especially asphalt tracks, they're just so busy running in circles on hot laps and qualifying that when Slinger announced that, I'm like, oh, that would be so awesome, right? Because like especially if it's hot laps, if it's qualifying, I can see not skipping qualifying, but they run an efficient program, even with all those cars. I mean, they started right at 6:30. I think National Anthem was at 6:28. They started the first race at 6:30, and we were done by 10?
Yeah. No, absolutely. So one thing I'll caution the teams are on exactly what Lewis said. That was going to be a point of my conversation tonight. Is even though you see 2, possibly 3 hot lap sessions on there, prepare that first one might be your only one. Yep. And then your group qualifying. There's nothing I can do about it. It is what it is. If we get a couple blown motors or just some bad luck in practice, be prepared that might be your only group. And also be prepared to move. It's a very large pit area. We're going to have a little less people there. I mean, Denise and Bubba are going to work their butts off along with me. Heck, we might even have to put Sabrina to work to help us flag down cars to get there. We're trying to get a couple other people to come up with us. We'll see though. But Slinger's a great place, and right now we've been working hard on this entry list, and there's a lot of local guys that are going. A lot more local guys going down this year than what there were last year. So we just picked up a couple more local guys that have put their intentions of coming down. I don't think we've captured all of the Wisconsin people that are coming. As of right now, I have 26 cars. I would suspect there will be over 30 for this. Again, I haven't captured all of them. As of the last entry that we had as of last night's going up at 9 o'clock, that's 22 cars. I mean, you got, Carter Stark is bypassing Winchester to stay local and chase that small car nationals. I'm sure he's won it before. I don't know that for a fact. You got Matthew Elsie Jr., David Simpson that's coming up. You can't forget the Victory by Design team. I think there's 4 on that list, and I think there might be 2 or 3 more on the way. That would be Victory by Design cars. Again, Phil Maloff had announced his intentions, or not announced, but told me that he would probably be there if there weren't any issues with his car. Well, I'm going to hold him to that because he won his last race, so I hope he will show up on Sunday because that'll be good. This will be the toughest field. There might be champions. There might be feature winners sitting on the outside, not in this. And how it will work, we want to be respectful to the track, so we're going to give 2 points provisionals to the Slinger cars, 2 points provisionals to the NCTS cars. And I know I'm probably going to have some pretty difficult decisions on this. So we only having 3 races in, I can assure you that our top 10, if you have made more than 1 race, is guaranteed to get in. And then I will give 1 Midwest Dash provisional too. So anybody racing the Midwest Dash, if you're in their top 10 in points and you don't get in, that's another way you can get in. We'll see, because like I said, we're gonna have a lot of guys that have raced 1 time with us this year that are there and might not make it, and somebody that supported our series all last year and first time out this year, I might have some difficult decisions to make. And I'm kind of I stray away from controversy. I'll probably pay out of pocket to start 26 cars, other than to make somebody mad to do 25. So, but just be aware that doesn't mean we'll give all provisionals, but I'm pretty sure we'll use the 2 Slinger, and I'm sure we'll use the 2 National Compacts, because there was quite a few National Compact guys that we had to put in on provisionals last year. How tough this field is.
Not to interrupt the train of thought there, but Tina Lewis asked where Slinger is, and so I answered, but just in case someone hasn't heard of Slinger, hasn't been there, it is west of Milwaukee. So like, I know Sabrina's coming down, and then we're going to ride together. And so from where I am, it's about 3 hours, maybe, driveway to driveway, give or take. It's really getting through the last part of Indiana and through, once you can get to 294. So like, if someone went down 294 into Wisconsin, go through Gurney, all the things, you get just close to Milwaukee, and then it turns you off to the left. And so once you get that way, you kind of go off a little bit, but it's the world's fastest quarter mile. It's fast. I mean, just I was actually surprised though, Drew, how your compacts race, after seeing how they race at like New Paris, South Bend, Kalamazoo, Corrigan, where they just go like 4 or 5 wide. There was a Slinger season ticket holder who I made really good friends with, sat by. We did a lot of chatting that night. I mean, I know that doesn't surprise you, Bougie, that I made friends wherever I go, but we were just talking. I was introducing him to the Kalamazoo drivers and our drivers out here. So when our cars would come out, I'd be like, okay, this is the car you need to watch for. So obviously I talked about Elsie Jr., Matt Sr., oh my gosh, it just drew blank, number 18, Dalton Irish, a bunch of them, Dave Leonard Jr., right? So when they came out, and then he was teaching me about the Wisconsin cars, and he pointed out a mini stock and all these other ones that are front runners there. And I said, well, how do they race here? Because I said at my track, they go like 4 or 5 wide when it goes green. And I swore, nope, didn't happen. They were like 2 wide the whole time, if they were even 2 wide. It was kind of like, well, I got proved wrong pretty quick there. I really thought, nope, didn't happen. So
they might have a 3 wide rule there. I'm not sure.
Okay.
I remember. Someone will have to ask. But let me point blank. If you F up at that track, your race car is not going to be in one piece.
Yeah.
Right? That was another thing I wanted to bring up is we do have some really tough racers coming, and you're going to have to race with a lot more respect than what you do at a Kalamazoo Speedway or a Plymouth or Berlin that has more room. It is unforgiving. You can trash. That's why we won't start 30 cars, Tina. So.
And Bougie, have you been to Slinger?
I have not.
Oh, it's all uphill. So anything you walk is uphill. There's no when you think you're going downhill, you're still actually going uphill, it seems. I mean, everything's on the hill there, which I'll get my workout. So Sabrina, just kind of warning, she might have to just pick a spot and stay. Yeah. I don't know that her knee can handle all the hills. I mean, it's literally all uphill. You go to the bleachers, it's uphill. Everything's uphill, right? But that banking, there's a spotter's box that they'll allow people in for the small car nationals. Big car, you probably saw where all the spotters were, but for the small car, it's where I'm going to take a lot of my photos and everything. And you just look down and it's
big. It's a bowl.
It is. I mean, it's impressive. Now, if you sit at the top of the bleachers, so for anyone going, if you sit at the tippy top, you won't see what goes into turn one. You'll see them at the flag stand, and then they disappear. And then you'll see them as they come out of middle of turn one into turn two. So my brother introduced me to Slinger, and I went, where are the cars? Oh, there they are. We're in the cars. It's like you just got to wait a moment and they'll reappear. But it's a bad, fast track. I mean, if no one's been to it or hasn't been to it, small car nationals go because they'll have legends. Like the dwarf cars here, they'll have legends there. They'll have the mini trucks. They'll have Slinger Bees, which is what Drew's compacts will race under. So for anyone following on my race pass back home, they will be Super Bees, excuse me. And then they have I think maybe the Slinger Bees are like the Bombers, Hornets kind of deal. But I mean, there's going to be.
I don't know. Their Slinger Bees are pretty tough too. Most of those guys compete with local front wheel drives here.
But yeah, so that's something to again just check out if you haven't.
Absolutely, yeah. It's high on my list. I intended to go a few years ago, and I think it ended up being a washout that day and didn't work out. But yeah, high on my list. And I think any race fan that hasn't, if Slinger isn't high on your list, then I don't think you know ball.
Yeah, they're late models. They're a super late model group. They have a lot of top end drivers that are. I mean, that's the thing. They have hobby stocks there on a normal night, and our B feature street stocks would just do laps around their hobby stocks. It would kind of be like a cat playing with a mouse. They're just not the same. But their super late models are because that's what I told my brother. I'm like, all this hype on Slinger, and this is what's come out so far, and it was like their Slinger Bees and the hobby stocks, and I'm like, this is when I was going to South Bend regularly. I'm like, this is it. Yeah. I was not. But then the late models came out. I went, okay, take that back.
and then, I mean, just to talk about the roster that Drew's bringing to Slinger. I mean, even the LCs versus the Starks, I think, is intriguing enough as a 4-cylinder race. And then names like Phil Maloof, or do you say is it pronounced Maloff? I've been pronouncing that Maloof for about 15 years.
I've called him Phil Maloff for 13 years. He's never correct.
And
either way, another bad fast car that we raced against at Grundy one time, and a field of heavy hitters coming with.
I can't promise Phil will be there, but I hope Phil will be. He would be a tough competitor. I mean, while you guys were chatting, I was looking at it. I can see 16 guys that I would lock into the A main right now, and even some of those I question. And like Josh Roush, the teammate of Carter Stark, is not on my list, but he'll be there. Chris Harmon just signed up just a few minutes ago.
I didn't mention the VBD cars. Those are all going to be.
I'm assuming that they usually travel in packs, so
they do.
I would assume 2 to 3 more cars. That's just assumption. It doesn't mean that they might have to work. But Dustin Kroom, Josh Witt, Jeremy Dameron, Cecil Van. This is one I'm going to mess up.
Van Blaricum.
Cecil.
There you go.
Which I have mad respect for. He's been nothing but nice, and he's supported our series over the last couple of years. And then heard rumor that somebody that registered for the series and has not been in a race car this year might be considering bringing a fast car. So, I mean, there's always people that are not on that list that won't show up.
Yeah.
There's guys like Travis Hill, Tim Anderson that are very tough in the Dash Series that I would suspect that might be there. Steve Dixon from Rockford Speedway. He's a race director for the Super 8 Series, might be there. That's not on the list. So when I say we have 26 cars on my list, I suspect that list will be 30 by the time I pull out of here on Friday night. However, that always happens that one or two won't show up, but usually there's 5 or 6. Look at Plymouth. I was telling you 22 cars, and we ended up with 28.
Mm-hmm.
And if a lot of people would have shown up, we would have been 30 plus, which is not bad. I mean, I'd like to start everybody, but it just ain't going to happen.
Yeah. It's a quarter mile at the end of the day.
We had a B feature last year, and that was a good B feature. I mean, it was super competitive. Came down.
Oh yeah, and I would be with what I have. I'd be ecstatic winning a National Compact Touring Series B feature. So yeah, that's nothing to shake a stick at either, for sure.
No, we had a B feature at Whittemore. I was thinking we were going to have to, break it into 10 and 8 cars last week just so that we were fair. But no, we had a good field of cars at Whittemore. We could have probably snuck a couple more into the A main, but we wanted to make sure the B main had some decent car count. Our car count's been good. It's been a different roster every race, and if you can't make it, this will be on Flow. And I'm learning that Flow is on Amazon Prime now, and all those other things that you can part of your subscription through Amazon Prime. Or you can watch the highlights on Top Row Racing Media through the afternoon. I'm going to say this loosely. I'm betting, watch the time I say this, as they'll actually have a hard stop on the pit gate at 2 o'clock. Pit gate opens at 2, but if you show up at noon, I'm betting they'll let you in. I mean, Dalton Irish showed up last year at 2 o'clock. He says, I sit in the hotel room, I show up, and the pits are packed when I get there at 2 o'clock. There's no place to park, and they're all in there. So I think Travis, in his second year of ownership, has done a great job there. They have done a Midwest Dash race this year, and they had 27 cars. That's with me thinking that if a lot of those guys show up that we're at that Dash race with what we're bringing, we could be pushing 40 cars, but I would be more cautious to say it's going to be 28 to 32.
I think that's what you had. You ended up with what, like 35-ish last year or something like that, I think.
There's 32 on Race Monitor, but I think there was a couple cars that got eliminated from Race Monitor somehow. So I think we're at 34 or 35.
34 sounded right to me as well.
Yep, and it will be on My Race Pass. I know they have Race Monitor too, but anyone who wants to, if you don't want to watch at Flow, that, and then, I'll have different highlights. I'm not recording the full thing, since Flow's there. I'm just going to do onboard stuff, but definitely we'll have highlights. And I did record the whole race last year. I didn't post the race just to respect Flow, but I more so did it just for the highlight aspect of it. But I have it just we actually needed it. So I'm glad I did have it, because I won't say why, but we did need it. And but yeah, so I'm excited to get back there again. That it'll be my second time as Top Row there. I think 5th time overall, but 2nd time under the Top Row umbrella, and then Sabrina, her first time. So I'm excited for her.
Yeah. No, it should be a lot of fun. The weather looks to be cooler. Hopefully, I mean, I don't speak for any racetrack, but it looks like the sky should be a little bit better by then, the air quality. But if it shows anything, what they went through to get the race in Tuesday night, if I'm a betting man, we'll be racing on Sunday. Like I said, we're excited to be a part of it. It is a privilege to be a part of the Small Car Nationals at a track that they don't bring many touring series in. The one class that I do really like kind of reminds me of the NAMR mini Indy cars, and I think that's what they actually are. They just made them a little bit safer with the snowmobile engines. Are those Wisconsin sport trucks?
Yeah,
because they sound just like those former NAMR Indy cars. They look just like them. They're almost as fast, and but they got a truck body instead of an open wheel mini car, Indy car on them.
There's something cool about a truck racing on a short track. I don't know what it is, but truck bodies just work in short track racing.
Well, these are they're like the mini cup
Yeah,
size. They're
right.
like, they're.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but just a truck
fast.
body is. Yeah.
You see someone tall, get out of them. The one I went up to last year, went. I'm not going to ask, but I'm going to ask. How the heck do you fit in there? I said something else, but
there's a great video of Derek Davis squeezing in a Super Cup somewhere. That
yeah, it might have fun to do that. I used to own a couple of those until I realized that those things were not built for fat people.
Beautifully said.
But no, honestly, Chicago traffic, it might be a little rough getting there, but on the way home, if you're in the Kalamazoo area, you can probably make it back in 3 hours if you're pedal to the metal.
Yeah,
I can tell you that way back in the 90s, driving on about an average speed when I was a dumb young teenager of about 95 to 100 miles an hour, I made it to Milwaukee, Wisconsin in about 2 hours and 25 minutes.
Oh, you were booking it.
And that was going through Chicago, and there was absolutely no traffic. I had a great idea that I was going to a Kalamazoo Wings hockey game in Milwaukee about 3 hours before face-off, and I actually made it before they even opened the doors. So
you drove 100 miles an hour from a minor league hockey game.
Well, just the time that he made it, my brother used to live in Green Bay, and so Milwaukee was kind of like I'm almost there moment, and so I kind of have it timed out. So when he said like 2.5 hours, I went, "Oh, you you weren't lying. You really did that because that's like 70 miles per hour." Well, no, when you go, Sabrina's going to learn how to drive through Chicago. I mean, I'm driving, but she's going to see all my road rage come out.
Lessons.
Well, I was born in Chicago, so I know the Chicago drive.
I like Chicago traffic. I'm a maniac.
I know how to do it. I just don't have to do it in Michigan, but it's in me. And my road rage comes out when I go to like the east side of the state and I have to go to Detroit.
You would never be able to do that nowadays with the way traffic is in Chicago.
Oh, no, not anymore. But, 294, you can get away with it. Once you get past O'Hare and everything, you can get a little bit of, because it opens up past O'Hare. But they've had so much construction, though, probably not. There's probably not even 4 lanes anymore.
Once you get through the north side of Chicago, it's only about an hour drive to there.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Once you get O'Hare Airport, once you get by the Allstate Arena and O'Hare Airport and the casino there, it's usually nice sailing. And then there's a Quick Trip right when you get into Kenosha. That's my first stop, Quick Trip.
That's been your Chicagoland traffic report.
Make sure you stop at the Mars Cheese Hut. They got good food.
No.
They have a little restaurant or like a little cafe in there.
Yeah. Yep.
But
I got Tyler May stuck. Tyler May family, I got them all stuck on Quick Trip brownies, carrot cake, and all that. So I think he's going to actually send me money for it. But I already told Sabrina, I said, just so you know, on the way home, we're stopping for it's a big pan of brownies. They'll be frozen, and that's way okay. It's like $24, but it's worth it. And Chris and Tracy have a favorite spot in Wisconsin too. Go ahead, Drew. Sorry, I
think this is going to be, and there's a lot of tough drivers that might show up that are not on that entry list, and if they do, it'll be even a tougher field to make. And I'm not trying to discourage anybody to come because Slinger's a little different. It's a small track, so it equalizes a lot of things there. So that just making the field is going to be an accomplishment itself. Now, surviving and loading your car in one piece will be another big accomplishment too. It was pretty clean last year, to be honest with you. I don't recall truly a lot of bad things, but again, I'll reiterate, especially to the tour guys that are coming, it's okay to beat and bang on at a Kalamazoo Speedway or Plymouth or Corrigan Oil. There's a little more forgiveness here. This you will destroy your race cars. You drive with respect.
And to your point. Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. I'll finish.
To your point earlier, I think it's such a tough field to make, and it's such a quality field that is coming. I think it's going to be a pretty quality feature that's gonna shake out pretty well. I think all those guys have a pretty reasonable head about them. They're going to make that a feature.
No, it will be. And like I said, if I remember right, I think there is a no 3 wide rule there. I could be wrong.
Should be.
I'll have to ask.
I like that rule anywhere, to be honest.
But it will be there will be. It's a full inversion. I guarantee you, every car will be within a half second each other within that A feature.
Yeah, because Carter Stark, wasn't he your fast qualifier last year, or was it one of the mini stocks that was a fast
No,
qualifier?
it was Carter Stark. Actually, it might have been. Actually,
Was that a Wasso last year, Drew, that Carter and Matt Jr. were putting on a heck of a race until Carter had problems?
yeah, I think Carter finished. I think the caution
Did he?
came out towards the
Oh,
end.
you're right. Yeah. They put on a heck of a show just at a while. As far as I know, that was their first time racing each other for the lead like that. And that was a great race to watch until it shook out a little
caution
different.
when it came out, Matthew might not have caught him.
Yeah, it was a great race.
But I know Matthew last year, I mean, he just kind of went in and clean house in ways. I mean, the mini stock was about a half track behind, give or take. I mean, once he got out, and I think Carter have issues with his car throughout the day. I'm trying to remember, but I know he was fast qualifier, but I don't think he was in the A feature or something happened.
No, he was in the A feature.
Maybe. But yeah, those
something happened in the first few laps. Give me a second here. I'm not ignoring you.
No.
Bringing up the results.
But I'm just, again, like if anyone's thinking about a trip, especially Kalamazoo's canceled for tomorrow. I don't know about Corrigan yet. Like I said, we're not going to do a full schedule tonight. I was talking with Buju about it, and I said, with our luck, everyone tomorrow is going to cancel, which makes the episode irrelevant quickly. And so, I mean, we've been on when tracks have canceled while we're actually talking about them. So it's like, well, ignore that. So it's like, why run the risk where we could have just a chit chat show, but we do have while Drew's looking for that. Drew, while you're looking for that, I'm just going to advertise this. We do coming up have the Sabrina Beebe Photography Driver of the Week. So coming up very shortly, we do have a Driver of the Week. Bouger already knows who it is. He wasn't surprised this time like I did last time. So while Drew's looking for that, so each Thursday we will spotlight the Top Row Racing Media Driver of the Week, presented by Sabrina Beebe Photography. Email me the driver nominations with helpful information that we can read with the spotlight shout out, and it's open to any track. And email that to media@toprowracingmedia.com. So any track, any class, and I will have this one be more driver specific. The short track spotlights will be coming back, just finding the right Wednesday to do it, because life's just super busy and hard to squeeze everything in. But again, that is presented by Sabrina Beebe Photography, so that is coming up very shortly here. While we finish up with Drew's Promoter's Point. And again, anyone watching, this Promoter's Point is open to any promoter who might be interested. So with Slinger coming up, I thought having Drew talking about that show, since it's so unique. But anyone watching, or if you know a promoter, we've had Leah on here. We've had Bill Russell on here with M40 Speedway. So if you know somebody who should get on here, whether that be Galesburg, whether that be Angola, Owasso, if anyone wants to take a moment, take 10, 15 minutes to kind of talk about their season, what's going on, what's coming up, what fans should know about. This is that segment, Promoter's Point. So, sorry, Drew, I just wanted to do the...
No, we're good.
And shout out to Tina Lewis. I know she just had a big surgery the other day and is at home recovering. So, I know I saw her update and been thinking about her because, I mean, she's a rock star. Bougie, I don't know if you've ever met her, but she's a rock star.
Yeah, years ago, at Montville, and I've met her a few times over the years, but definitely a worker.
So last year, Matt Elsie was over Jason Utek. I'm not sure Jason Utek's going to be there this year. Carl Ben, a local from Slinger, was third. Al Strobel, another local I would consider to the region, and George Sparkman were your top five. Carter actually finished 21st, and Matt Elsie Sr. 16th, Dalton Irish 14th. We did start 26th last year, so.
Yep, and Dalton came out late because he was having car issues. It was literally his car was still torn apart up until the driver introductions were done. So he got out, I think it was like 2 to white. He was last minute guy out there, but he raced up. Matt Senior got caught up in an incident early in the race, and then he had to pull off, and so he went a lot of laps down. But Christina held her own.
Yep, we'll finish up on this. So Jared Fry, the guy from Pennsylvania, didn't make the show. He was the first transfer in, but we gave him a provisional. Christina Rance was the second non-transfer. Tim Finstad, who's won many races up there. Dalton Irish, a series hot shoe. Tim Anderson's a top name up there. Pat Dickman's a top name. Tyler May. These are all guys that needed provisionals or didn't make it.
Yep.
Their track champion or points leader right now, Nick Schmidt, actually did not even qualify for the race last year. So that just shows you the talent that didn't make it through the B main last year. So I suspect that it'll be close to not the same. Heck, if we end up with all 26 cars, we'll just start all 26 cars, I guess. But I think we'll have more.
Yeah, well, I know. Again, I'm excited. I know Sabrina's excited, and I know this is one of your big races that you've been working towards. Obviously, you have Canada coming up here in a few weeks. You have your Northeast Series that's getting ready to get going with the race coming up. So you're busy, managing even all the other things that you manage. You have a lot on your plate, and it's getting in the thick of things now.
I'll tell you, the 3 races I was most worried about, just because of the distance, Whittemore, Slinger, and Canada are actually shaping up to be pretty decent. So, the one other thing is I'll make an official announcement now. The August 8th race, Flat Rock Speedway, has been moved to August 22nd. There's another touring series that's out there that just isn't having a good year. So Flat Rock reached out to us to asked if we would move. We talked to some of our drivers, and it'll actually get us some more cars to Flat Rock. And then the Plymouth race, I think it was August 4th, has been canceled. So we did our part. We did our part. We'll leave it at that, and we'll just say we're told one thing, and then you'll see another thing on social media. So, but we're very respectful of Irish for bringing us in, and it actually works out. I think Thursday would have been very tough for us to get cars there. So I'm not mad about it by any means, but we just wanted to make sure people knew that you might have to take a Hornet car now.
Yeah.
So, which I encourage you to do so, but I'm going to go get some dinner and start getting our list up to 40, because that's what we do. We want 40 cars. Now that I can smell 40 cars, I want 40 cars.
Oh, yeah, brother. Well, thanks for coming on, Drew, and good luck Sunday. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
All right. Again, thank you so much. And that's been Drew Jack with the National Compact Touring Series. Our promoter's point brought to you by, that's not provided, brought to you by ELH Detailing. So, again, don't forget, we have those packages hanging out there. So now, Buju, before we dive into the last part of the conversation that I thought we can talk about, why don't we go ahead and do the Sabrina Beebe Photography Top Row Racing Media Driver Spotlight.
Let's do it.
All right. So again, just a reminder, the Driver Spotlight, I want you to help nominate drivers who you think deserve. Now that I'm thinking about it, Buju, because we didn't have the show last week, I said this week that I would do 2 of them. So that's also my fault for forgetting. But we can do shout-outs. Beyond this too. So if you think of a driver on the top of your head that you want to give a shout out to, definitely feel free while we're in this segment. So the driver spotlight, again, each Thursday we will spotlight a driver of the week. So email media@toprowracingmedia.com. If it's a track that I cover, probably have a photo of the cars. It could be helpful if you have one. Just make sure that if it is a photographer's photo and not your own, I am a huge believer in copyright laws, and will definitely follow those, because my goal is not to do any copyright infringement with other photographers' photos. But luckily, this driver is a track that I cover, and I know Buju has been equally impressed too. And so our driver of the week this week is Haley Bowl. Jumped up to street stocks at New Paris, been mostly racing at New Paris in the street stock, and I know she's been nervous as heck many times, and lots of people are telling her, like, hey, you know what you're doing, you're out there. So again, I've been really impressed with Haley and everything. So for our driver of the week, we have Haley Bowl. So Buju, I want to pull you in on this too, because I know I've been impressed with her run. She's been keeping it up front. She's been racing. It's been, she's not giving spots up easily or anything like that.
Right.
And so from you as an announcer, then you as a fan of Rich,
Mm-hmm.
what have you seen from Haley, especially making that jump from Hornets, where she dominated a lot of ways, to now she has to learn a new class again?
Yeah. And like as you mentioned, I've been a fan of Haley's dad since literally I think before she was born. So that's how long I've been paying attention to the Bull racing family. And as you said, I've been nothing but impressed with Haley in the street stock so far. She making the jump from Hornets. I feel like she instantly looked more comfortable in the street stock than she did in the Hornet. And that's not a diss on what she did in the Hornet. I mean, she won 8 features in the Hornet. So
Yep.
that's just more kudos to what she's done in the street stock. She looked like she knew what she was doing instantly from jumping in there, and has only improved since the season started. So not super, and she's doing it at, in my opinion, the hardest track in the area to figure out, New Paris.
Yep.
I think Rich is probably. I think that's probably purposeful from Rich, if I had to guess, is starting her at New Paris. I think that's if you can figure out New Paris, you can figure out how to race pretty much anywhere. So I think that's purposeful from them, and she's killing it. So shout out to Haley.
Well, especially, I mean, turn 1 and 2, right? Like, when there's a lot of Kalamazoo drivers that come down, or drivers who haven't really raced there, I said, if you can figure out 1 and 2, the 3 and 4 is a little bit more sweeping. The backstretch obviously sweeping, almost kind of like a Kalamazoo where you're always turning. I mean, I don't know if you've ever gone over to that little spot over in turn 4 where like Andy Lynn will set up and some other photographers, but you just see them coming off of 2, and it's just, they're just turning. There's no like straight, right? And so it's kind of like a Kalamazoo-y sort of feel, but obviously flatter than Kalamazoo.
Right.
A lot easier to walk up and across, where I don't feel winded. But that's where 1 and 2 is the egg shape, which we just had mapped the other day for the enduro.
Yeah.
I mean, you could see it that way. So again, watching Haley, one person, who I also thought about is, Megan Richardson. She got her first win. She's a Night of Destruction competitor who jumped into Hornets her first time out there, and seemed to handle it. Jamie Kaufman with Victory by Design, she got a win, and I mean, she's had some tough luck at times, and she even spun out in that in the picture, and still came back and had a strong run. So there's a lot of strong women right now, racing at New Paris that are really doing a lot, and that's not purposely forgetting Sage Hannah. That's not Summer Allen, right? There's just that pit area at New Paris on a Saturday night is full of female drivers who are who are just like, well, they're race car drivers, right? But they are female, and that's still in 2026. That's still a thing to just point out, is that especially in the street stocks, the 2 female drivers in that area are pretty much Haley and Sage. I don't know any others who are consistent, especially in the street stocks and doing it. Obviously, Hornets are always a good spot where you'll see a lot of female drivers, front wheel drives, but definitely, as I was thinking and kind of thinking of the season to this point, it's like, Haley, Haley's just doing, and I saw Sabrina pointed out that it says bow time. Actually, the G was supposed to be there, but still the B, because B and G on the keyboard are right next to each other. We already saw one typo, so he can say, like, the picture was right, the name was wrong already. It was still a bowl, but it was not the right bowl. And so yeah, just like I said, I made the graphics at 6 o'clock when I was on the phone with Drew, and just doing too many things at one time to be like, hey, I got a show coming up. And I found time to eat too. So
and just one more point before we move on from Haley. Even in the fields at New Paris, I mean, think of all the years of experience that she's racing against with Charlie Hanna and Bobby Schischler and her dad and everybody that fills that street stock field at New Paris. I mean, that's a lot of years of experience in that field that she's racing against in her first year and holding her own. So just one more point for Haley's credit. And
and again, it looks like if you brought in a casual fan who comes every now and then,
she looks like she belongs, and that's that's impressive alone. And
you wouldn't be able to pick her out. If you said someone in this class is a rookie, pick them out. They probably wouldn't pick the number 22. I mean, it would be really hard to pick any of those drivers, because a lot of them are, they know what to do there. But if you said one of these drivers is a rookie in this class, pick them out. I think it'd be really hard for them, especially, I mean, she ran top I don't remember the results from Saturday, but wasn't it like top 4 or 5 that she was up there?
Yeah, I think she was third, but I could be wrong on that.
Because I know Charlie got second.
Scotty might have got third. I'm not sure, but yeah.
Oh no, I think maybe I know
Yeah, I'm not.
they're close to each other, but and I'm not, and Race Pass is too far away for me to get on. But,
it's too many clicks for me.
Yeah, but one thing that I do want to also bring up is again, even though we didn't do the schedule tonight, we've just kind of had a chit chat show. There are still races probably going tomorrow, but again, just check in the morning because of the not temperature, but rain is a chance tomorrow. It was like 60% at one time, but it's hit and miss. I mean, it's truly hit and miss like it was a few weeks ago, but it's the smoke, especially in Michigan. So if you go to Michigan track, check in the morning. Some might be waiting until morning, but obviously in Kalamazoo's case, when you're looking at a purse that's substantial and you got teams traveling for that, it's a lot easier to call it tonight than it is to wait until tomorrow, because some of those teams might have already been on the road. There's teams coming from Ohio that would have been leaving super early, especially with gates opening at 2. You know, for some of those teams, that's a 4 or 5 hour drive. They're not leaving at noon like maybe a Kalamazoo car can, who's just down the road, to get there at 2. They're leaving early in the morning. So and getting ready for that tonight. So again, with Outlaw Super Late Models, that's a whole different show. Obviously also a big purse. So I think that's why Kalamazoo pulled it early. And again, the smoke is just, I mean, if you're mad about that, just step outside for like 10, 15 minutes and see how you do. You know, breathing, just breathing.
But as Lewis said, I mean, monitor your track, social media, see what they got going on this weekend. And if you can, support your local short track. I mean, if you're willing to go out, if the weather clears a little bit or whatever, and you're willing to go out in this, support your local short track if you can. I know New Paris has been in the chat. They have their Survivor 180 Enduro Saturday. Go watch that. I'll be at M40 watching some racing Saturday. So support your local short track if you can. I know I will be.
And that's where I was gonna go to New Paris, because I posted early this morning. If you missed it, it's not far down on my page. I posted an info post where everything about that race is right there. So the first picture is the flyer. Because any big race, I'm a big believer in, you need one info post with everything, you know, not spread throughout.
I agree. Yes. Something you can screenshot and have for the day or the weekend or whatever it is. Yes. So fantastic.
So I call it a hub. So I made a hub for New Paris on, because I even had to scroll a little bit, you know, to find everything I needed. And I'm like, okay, who else is doing the same thing? So I saved all the photos. I even converted their registration form, which is a PDF, to a PNG, just to include in the thing, because you can't post PDFs on Facebook, or if you can, it wouldn't let me. So if someone knows how to do that, please tell me. But it's the flyer for Saturday, and then registration, schedule of events, payout, race receiver, all that, and then the 2 pages of rules. So if anyone's looking for that, again, it's 20 cars or more, it's $2,000 to win. Less than 20 will be $1,000 to win. But I've already seen some of the team names. I'm really excited because there's some really cool, interesting names going around. Jacob Kelly, who usually works the pit gate, will be racing this Saturday. Obviously, the girls' team last year, they did pretty awesome without power steering. And Chastity, Tabitha, and Megan will be on a team. So we got some Night of Destruction Warriors who certainly posted that they're coming. So again, come on out. And then also, I know for Bill Russell, they have the Judgment Day Street Stock Race. They do have a new ladder. Johnny posted that their ladder got enduroed, and so they do have a new ladder that I think Johnny did like what Kalamazoo has, where they bolted it to the wall. That way, it's permanent. It's there. You don't have to constantly move it. And I tell you, sometimes that ladder going down is a little shady.
Yeah.
I'm like, I think this is going to fall on me. You know, I'm just fat enough to do that. And it was safely there. I mean, it was secure, but just kind of the way that you had to go down, sometimes I didn't trust it. And it wasn't unsafe.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, like, it wasn't unsafe. It just,
the
angle, it just felt like all it takes is that ladder to shift one thing and you're eating wall, and not in a good way. And one thing I did before we do go back to, there's just one thing I do want to talk about before we do get off. I wanted to show the full program thing, because I've been trying to advertise this, because I have a lot of people who will say, I can't find this on YouTube. And you know, like, this website I built in like a lot of time. And I do want to show one more time the website, where if you go to the main page, toprowracingmedia.com, if you go to full programs, so if you're hovering and you click links, you hear Joel announce it all the time, but right here, 2026 season, 32 events, Top Row, full racing programs, Top Row has been at already, 32 events this year. And all you got to do is click on them, and it takes you to the YouTube video automatically. So you can see I did 2 retro things there, but again, it has the track and the date. So even if you're like, the graphic means nothing to you, it's even under it. So again, that's something that free to access all the time. So if you can't find it on YouTube, and then even onboard cameras, you can click that and that'll take you to the YouTube playlist that's onboard cameras. So it's all on the website that you can do. Obviously, there's the store, but I'm not going to promote that tonight. I was more worried about full programs because I had 3 messages today. Where can I find this? So it's like, go to the website, go full programs, scroll down, and then you can still get all the programs that I've done since 2022. I went back this winter and converted all the Hartford programs from individual uploads to full programs, including Kalamazoo. The only tracks that I did not do were Plymouth and South Bend for 2022. But everything else was converted. And then since then, some of these I had to get to because Flagger Boy in August was the first official full program that I did. So on August 12th. So everything before that, I went all winter to convert. So I'm going to leave it at that. It did that on its own, and I'm going to leave that screen. I don't feel like pressing the other button right now. But again, just kind of wanted to remind everybody that that's the easiest way to find full programs if you can't find it on YouTube. But one thing that I wanted to bring up is that I don't know if you saw social media today, but there's another series, another place for enforcing rules that has just kind of been taken to the woodshed a little bit. And we're not going to get into it too much, Buju, but it's one thing that, like, I talked with another promoter, track owner in this area, who on Saturday they had to disqualify somebody for a tech thing. And I didn't see that all over social media. But obviously we know one track was all over social media. One track was all over social media for whole different things. And then today a series has been all over social media for enforcing a rule and, and claiming an engine and all that. And I just kind of, at a lot of these tracks, all these places, Buju, now that you work at a track, right? One, you don't make enough money to get cursed at, to get ripped apart, to get personally blasted and all. Nobody does, right? Nobody's making enough. And I wish everything didn't have to go to Facebook.
Yeah.
I was watching Park last night, and the Yelper episode came on, and I went, oh my gosh, that's Facebook. Because if you watch the Yelping episode where, Eric Hartman is a Yelper and everyone says, I'm a Yelper, so they get special treatment and special food and special pricing, special everything. Sometimes I feel like early in the years when everyone was worried about 1-star reviews just because, they didn't deliver food in 30 seconds rather than 1 minute, right? Or whatever, that, companies just bent over backwards to avoid outrage, right? Starbucks in their green cup in November instead of December. I remember people literally threw a fit and boycotted Starbucks because they rolled out their green cup in November when the green cup is supposed to be in December, which they spend at that time $6 for that coffee. It's like you're just throwing the cup away anyways. But anyways, whatever. To some people that was important, like the color, the tradition, and so rage, right? Then you got Starbucks apologizing, and it's like, why? It's a freaking cup. Like, why are we apologizing and making a whole big thing? But it's social media storm. But I just feel like that's when social media outrage got validated, right?
Yeah.
And so now everything's adjudicated on Facebook, and it gets exhausting. Let tracks enforce the rules. Don't like the rules when they benefit you, and then don't like them when they don't benefit you, right? Like, and again, I'm not going to get into details, but it's exhausting.
Yeah, and to your point, there's never any real reason it needs to play out on Facebook, really, ever.
Right.
And I feel like a conversation between the involved parties is always the answer to the problem. Like, and it might not solve it all, but you're going to make a lot of more progress than you are from posting that somebody's a dumbass on Facebook. You know what I mean?
Because it just doesn't, that's a thing that I think I get frustrated with sometimes, is that everybody is quick to point the negatives,
Yes.
do the negatives. And that's why when Drew called me today, and he's monitoring the Kalamazoo social media, and he was worried after they made that post, are they going to get ripped apart because they're canceling, especially with it being super late models. The second year in a row, the July race has been canceled. Last year, thunderstorms. This year, possible storms, but also, Canada is taking a big, giant smoke show on us. And, and it's not good for people to be out in it. I mean, everybody's saying, to avoid being outside if you can. And I know some people have to work outside no matter what, right? They're landscapers or construction or whatever. They have no choice. But racing is a choice. Being a fan in stands is a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of medical emergencies that are just flashing possibility, right?
Right.
And so he's watching, and I said, just turn the comments off.
Yeah.
Why babysit it? Because people can't control their fingers. I'm not going to say mouth because they're not talking, but they can't control their fingers, and they have to rage type because they're mad that a racetrack canceled an event. Like, I get it. I want to be at the track too, but sometimes you just have to math for one, and two, you have to think like, okay, this is the worst it's been. We've had a lot of Canadian wildfires in the past. I mean, this is not the first time we've been blanketed in smoke, but this is the worst it's been. That's respiratory. That's all these things. How many fans might not go because of it? I mean, there's spots in Michigan you can't even see down the road.
Yeah.
But then it comes back to like, okay, we can't control ourselves in the comment section. And then this series left the comment section open, which I knew once I read it. I read it when it was 2 minutes posted. I went, oh, well, I'll come back in about 10 minutes and that should be going. And it's just so sad. And again,
it is.
You can be frustrated. Oh no, I didn't tell you. It was at M40. Penny, she checked on me a lot because I was really frustrated with the situation from somewhere on social media. And I typed a comment that I never sent. I typed it and I felt good typing it, but I never clicked send.
And that's what more people should do, I feel like. That was a point I was just thinking of. It's like, get it out, but maybe don't put it in the world. Yeah, get it off your chest, but does the whole world need to see this? Probably not.
Type it in notes. I did that. I always told my principal, I said, don't ever, if you ever have to check my email, don't check the draft section, because there's a lot of things I probably said, but I needed to, right? And I would encourage other people to do that. I said, don't send it, go type it, come back a day or two later, unless it's super urgent, then just do it in person. But, and I just feel bad because, again, it's rules are rules. I don't like all the rules either, right? But at the end of the day, it's the rule, and it's meant there for a reason. And I know, people have all their opinions about tech, but just think about this. It's hard to be a tech person in today's world, because if you tech someone and you uphold what the rule is, you're getting cursed out by the tech, the crew member or the driver, getting yelled at. Well, I'm legal at every other track.
Yeah.
Well, you might have been, but they might have also told you, hey, you need to fix this, and by next week, but then you came here because you didn't want to fix it.
Yeah. It is a thankless job. If you enforce the rules, then you're a dictator. If you're too light on the rules, then you're bad at your job.
Yeah.
You're pissing somebody off no matter what you do. Right. So I give all the kudos in the world to tech people in the racing world. And anytime my family has been called cheaters over the years a few times, and I always encourage the people that allege people of being cheaters that maybe they should get into the tech business in the racing world, right? There's a lot of jobs that need filled. So if you're such an expert, maybe you can offer your services.
Well, and that's the thing, and you know this about me, and a lot of people know this about me. I'm a solutions person. I'm not a just say, here's the problem, and then you fix it. Here's the problem, here's a solution that I have, or here's the solution I've been thinking about. And it may not work, but I at least come to the table. That's how I earned a lot of respect, even in my previous job, from, because the janitorial staff, custodians. I would almost always get what I needed eventually, because I went to them and I said, oh, no big deal. I have a plan B. Here's what I can do for the meantime. And I had one guy, he went out of his way to make it happen. He said, because you came to me and you didn't demand. You came to me and you also said, hey, this will work for me. I'll make it work. It's no big deal. I just thought I would ask. And he said, because you did that and you treated me with respect, I made sure you got what you needed. And he gave me a fast break candy bar at the same time, too. So I gave him one back because he knew I liked fast break. He learned that because he also liked fast break. So we gave each other fast breaks, right? But it's the solutions where a lot of times, like the AI thing. How many people do you see? And I'm not a big fan of AI either. It is a helpful tool. I'm not going to say I've never used it, but sometimes I might go to AI. Like I went to ChatGPT just to make a flyer for somebody who's arguing with me about the law. And so I made a flyer just in case I needed it, but I would never post it because it also looked awful. But, some people use AI and you see a lot of people complaining about AI, but then they don't do anything about it. Mm-hmm. They don't actually say, hey, let me make a flyer for you. Yeah. I'm just going to go to your Facebook post and say AI stop and complain about it, where it's like, I don't know, you've worked at a track for several weeks and they're still using the same kind of post and you've never offered to make one for them. And maybe you did and they just won't allow it or whatever, but it's like, I don't know, you complain about it, but I don't see any change and you've been there.
Yeah.
Like if you think you can do it, then do it. And if it looks like crap, it looks like crap. At least you tried. And they may say, hey, we just really like a certain style. We like a certain something. Come with solutions. How do you solve it? Don't just go to Facebook and complain about it because then you're just a complainer.
Yeah, exactly.
And, help solve the problem. Help offer solutions. Even if you can't solve it, like you might not have the resources. Like, hey, I need a hammer, I need a nail, and I need some 2x4s. I don't have that. Oh, wait, you do? Well, let's work together. Right?
And a lot of times, and like I think back to like when I was racing more regularly, and maybe I'd be frustrated with a situation that was happening with maybe officiating or something that was going on at the track. I'd have a conversation with another driver, get their thoughts on it.
Yep.
Talk it out with them instead of making it a public forum.
Yep.
I mean, and I feel like you can get this stuff off your chest without even necessarily having a conversation with the person that you have that issue with. If you want to avoid that, if you're not a confrontational person, I'm not at all. Maybe talk it out with somebody else. You know what I mean? There's other ways to calm your frustrations instead of making a Facebook post that not only makes you look bad, but makes an entire situation out of something that could have been solved in private.
Well, and I think I'm not ever going to say that social media is 100% the reason why this, that, or the other. It's a piece of the puzzle in the greater scheme. Mm-hmm. There's a post yesterday that Matt Rudkin made and a bunch of comments were made on it. And I'm like, in some ways, we just live in not everybody, this is not a blanket statement, but a general broad statement. We just live in a world where if it's on Facebook, it must be true.
Yeah.
Or if it's on YouTube and it's in this video, it must be true. And we go with the first instinct, so for example, there's a WWE wrestler who's accused of battery, assault, or whatever it was. And everybody, of course, went with what the fan, it was a neighbor, said. Well, video surveillance proved them wrong and showed the whole altercation. And so now it's like, well, no one's going to come back and say, "Oh, I was wrong." Mm-hmm. We judge first, and we don't wait for the results, right? We don't wait for anything. We just instantly, "Oh, it must be true. Oh, I saw that. It must be true." And that doesn't mean there's not truth behind some of it, but it's like we just take what we hear or see for what it is, for face value. We don't educate ourselves, and I'm not saying everybody, but in the grand world of things. Like what Matt Rudkin posted, there are people saying all these things about like, well, who would be in Antarctica in 1936? And then someone, well, technically Antarctica had a weather station in 1908.
Yeah.
Like, people just assume what they heard or read or what they just think. Their opinion becomes fact. And that's where it gets exhausting and frustrating.
And on that point, and also going back to something you said earlier with the Yelp and reviews and all that stuff, and I made a point on this a few weeks ago, and I said I used to work in the travel business.
Oh yeah.
And in a lot of cases, and hotels come to mind when I think about this. But when somebody is leaving a review on something, they're having an extreme experience in one way or the other.
Yep.
Most cases, when you're motivated to leave a review or leave a comment or whatever it may be, it's because something happened that upset you. You know what I mean? Well, the person at the desk was rude, or somebody found a bug in the shower. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's what motivates somebody to leave those negative comments. And all the 90% of the people in the middle that, you know, I went to the restaurant, my food was good, the waitress was good,
Yep.
the bathroom was clean,
Yep.
and everything was just fine. That person's not motivated to say something about it.
Right. And that's why, that was a point that I was going to make earlier, is like, I just wish more and more people would pick the podcast that you're on a few weeks ago, Ileana
Stock Car Radio. Ileana Stock Car Radio.
Yep. You know, they do one positive.
Mhm.
You know, if you're going to say something, find a positive in the day. I did that when I was teaching, where no matter what, and trust me, some of my students sometimes had a day from wherever.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we always asked, what's one positive?
Mhm.
When they left, they had to give a positive, because we had point sheets, and we would put it at the point sheet. We would have, I need to work on, and one positive. And their points might have been what they were, right?
Right.
But it was, think of something from the day. I called it the 30,000 foot view, because there are days that my classroom got absolutely destroyed.
Mhm.
Nothing left on the legs that they came in on, desk all over, pencils all over, bookshelves all over, you name it. I mean, it looked like an F5 tornado went through my classroom many times, more than I care to share. But I'd always say, what did the bird see? Not what did we see on the ground living it, but
Right.
what did the bird see? Can we find something positive in that? Whether, I always said, would the bird still land if it were flying over, or would it go, that's not the tree I'm going to land on,
Yeah.
right? And keep moving. And so sometimes it's like, if you just found that positive, you had to change your mindset. And that's tough to change your mindset. But you had to change your mindset. And I'm not saying everything's hunky-dory.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I promise you it's not.
Oh, yeah.
But is it all as bad as you say it is? Like, find something positive.
Yeah.
And it's like, sometimes there are drivers who they really, really want to win, and they're disappointed. Like, maybe it's a really close finish. And then I might go, and I know they don't want to hear it at the time, but I might go, well, is your car in the trailer tonight?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the trailer. There you go.
And to that point, as someone who switched their own mindset in the last several years of my life, it's just as easy to find one positive in something as it is one negative. You can always find a negative in something, and that's the person I used to be. I always used to be the person who found the negative in something, and it's just as easy to find the positive in something if you want to reverse the situation. So I don't know. It's possible to do, because I did it. So I don't know. Change your mindset sometimes.
Yeah, and that's, again, it doesn't always have to be on Facebook.
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes just keep it inside sometimes, or keep it inside, or keep it one-on-one. It almost never needs to go on Facebook, honestly. Does it ever really need to go on Facebook?
Well, one thing that we do want people to do on Facebook is, this Monday, we have the Monday Night Rewind. So rewind with us this Monday, starting at 7 p.m. We have Wayne Bunn from Hartford Speedway, the announcer at Hartford, and he's announced just about at every track in the area. He will be joining us at the top of the show.
That's cool. Legend.
Yep. And then we have Taylor Haynes, who will be joining us from M40 Speedway at around 7:40, 6:40 his time.
Not a legend, but I do like Taylor.
Yep. And he doesn't have Facebook, so his face is gonna be on Facebook, even though he doesn't have Facebook. He doesn't do any social media. So so we have two awesome guests lined up so far. I will try to get a third guest. Might try to get someone from Slinger. From one of our Wisconsin. I'm not Wisconsin. One of our Kalamazoo guys, or wherever they come from to race their new pairs, could be who raced at Slinger over the weekend. I do want to try to get one of them so they can talk about what it's like to race at Slinger. So working on 3 guests. We've had kind of up and down. We've been 1 guest, 2 guests, 3 guests. Like Monday we technically had 2, but one was more of an advertisement, because talking about new pairs to Survivor Enduro tonight would be counterproductive if someone's like, hey, wait, what's that? Now I got to try to build a car in 24 hours. So that's why we had Chris and Tracy on Monday, because just time frame wise made more sense. But then we had Taylor Sexton. So if you missed that episode, certainly go back, because Taylor talked about a lot of different things. But otherwise, this Monday, starting at 7 again, we'll have Wayne Bunn from Hartford and Taylor Haynes from M40. So track announcer and track do-it-aller is what we'll call Taylor. And he has a cool story too, just from bowling and managing a pro shop and everything that he's been able to do with that. So again, that's this coming Monday at 7 p.m.
There we go.
All right, and I might be tired, just FYI, because Sabrina and I will be getting home
Oh
late.
yeah, you
from
got a
Slinger.
late day Sunday, yeah.
And so we'll have a long day because we're leaving. She has to leave earlier than I do. In fact, I'm kind of worried about her getting, going home, because if it could be like last year, 10 o'clock is 11 o'clock our time. So by the time I got back home last year, is almost 3. And then she's in Augusta. So that's another hour 20 from me. So it's going to be a long day, but I told her she can sleep, do whatever, on the way home, and even on the way there, she can do, I won't, because my road rage will kick in. So I'm going to hit just about the quarry area, and all the rage that I build up throughout the year will be there. And I know she commented earlier going, I've heard you sometimes going through Mattawan. She has no idea what she's getting into.
Yeah, Mattawan versus Chicago is quite.
There are a lot of words that come out of my mouth when Chicago, Detroit are the two, because I just run out of patience. I'm never going to do anything stupid on the road like that, but it's like, okay, you need to do 80 because it's the 80 lane, and I hate doing 80. But I know when you get to parts of Chicago,
you're in Chicago, you're in the boogie.
I don't care if it says it's 45, because ain't nobody doing 45. 45. Not one thing is doing, including the cops, are not doing 45. No. I always like it. They always say speed and force. I'm like, bull crap. I'd say something else, but we're still on. But
they'd be the richest city in the world if it was.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of cops flying by me doing 90 because they have no choice. They had a semi on their tail. I'm like, if anything, you'd be pulling over the semi doing 90. But if you want to live to tell about it, you better boogie. And I just hate. I always hate too when people do like the tag thing.
Yeah.
Where they get over in the pass lane and then they slow down and then they speed up because you go to pass. And then,
I like to find a drafting partner and lock on.
Yeah, I get so mad at that. I mean, they even do that on 94, and there are times where I'm like, they do
it on the bypass between Elkhart and South Bend, brother.
Yeah. So Sabrina's about to get an education on that. But I grew up on the roads of Chicago. I mean, I grew up I was a passenger driver, so or backseat driver. Like I watched the 4-lane swoop, all the things. So I can do it. I just never have to. But Sabrina's about to get an education riding with me. And then once we're past Chicago, we're by O'Hare Airport, she'll see it completely different. But once we hit about 10 miles before the border up until O'Hare, she's going to get a lot.
When I went to Joliet a couple weeks ago, I zigzagged down county roads just to avoid 94 and 80 because, I hear you.
It's so much easier to go 294, which I know some drivers, they don't do toll roads, and the toll road price went up, so it's like whatever.
It's kind of ridiculous to go through Chicago anymmer.
Oh, yeah, I don't do the Skyway because I like 294. It's a nice, smooth ride, generally speaking. But once I get to O'Hare, then I breathe.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, then you get in Wisconsin, everyone's respectful. It's like they're all so full of cheese or whatever, and wine, know.
We went to Wisconsin Dells one time when I was a kid. We left like late at night, and there was construction on 94 and 294 and all that, and it was just so stressful. And then like everything just cleared as soon as you get to the nothing on the other side of Chicago, and it's just such a sigh of relief and fresh air.
Yeah, O'Hare Airport is kind of like once you get past the casino there and Allstate Arena exit and all that, once you get past the airport, then, and even kind of towards the airport, sometimes it kind of opens up. But you get past the airport and you kind of get between the airport and Gurney, that spot, it's like, this is night and day. I can take this any day. Now, coming home, it won't be bad. It'll be empty, and that's when it's kind of like boring. But at least this time I have someone riding with me, where usually I'm by myself in the car. So then it's like, okay, then it's just I go through Busted Open. I listen to Busted Open radio, and
I'm always the closer on road trips, and Dale Jr. Download comes on when everybody's falling asleep.
And so it's like, but I'm so I get to a point where Bully Ray and Dave LaGreca just don't do it for me anymore, and I'm like, then I turn on music, but because Michigan City is when I start getting tired. Like I get towards Michigan City, and I by the dump in the hospital, then I start like, okay, I'm almost home now. I'm almost home now. Like. But that's the brutal part, that spot. And so I'm like, okay, almost there. Radio's blasting. So at least I'll have Sabrina and I'll have someone to talk to. Unless she's sleeping, then she's going to have to deal with Busted Open Radio. But but it's like, by the time we get back, it's going to be close to 3-ish, 2-ish, 3-ish. And so So yeah, but it'll be worth it. It's fun. So I may be tired when it comes to Monday, but it's fine. I've been tired on a lot of Mondays and
That's
pushed
right.
through. So
That's
uh,
racing.
it is. But I know we've stayed on a lot longer for I mean, we did have Drew for a little bit longer. So we went a little longer though tonight than usual. But again, thank you everyone for joining us. We had quite a few viewers, there for a while too. So I definitely appreciate, share it out.
Yeah.
I haven't been posting this. Ooh, did I post the Monday Night Rewind on Spotify yet? I did not. I is so busy editing. I can't keep up with everything. But it's fine now that I remember that. But I haven't been posting on Thursday just because by the time most people probably hear it, it's already outdated. So again, you have been watching and listening to the Thursday Night Throttle presented by Federated Auto Parts and ELH Detailing. Of course, Beacon Auto Sales and Service is our schedule sponsor. So we didn't have the schedule tonight, but definitely Beacon Sales and Service, also sponsor of our 2 brand new cameras. David Howe sponsored the 2 new cameras, number 1 and number 14. And then don't forget again, we have the Monday Night Rewind where you can rewind with us this coming Monday, where Boozoo and I are back on. And again, we'll have Wayne Bunn at the top of the hour, and then we'll have Taylor Haynes joining us at the bottom of the hour. And don't know who the third guest is yet, but we'll figure that out. But other than that, Boozoo, it's almost time to turn left and go fast.
Because we'll see you at the races.